Hello and welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you'll find the most recent news, entertaining moments, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. During the 12th episode of Season 49, host Jeff Probst of Survivor shared his reaction to the Tribal Council's twists and turns. Several contestants used the advantages they had earned earlier in the series in the episode's conclusion, though some players were confused when they were unexpectedly eliminated. Jeff Probst discusses Survivor Advantage rules. During an episode of the On Fire with Jeff Probst podcast, which he co-hosts with former Survivor winner Jeremy Collins and executive producer Jay Wolf, Probst spoke about the different advantages that were played during the Tribal Council at the end of episode 12 and how they affected each other. The bewildering situation arose when Savannah was able to win an immunity challenge, leaving several other players at risk of being eliminated from the show. Since Steven had the block of vote advantage and Sophie had the knowledge of power advantage, it was not surprising that both contestants played them to try to stay safe. But because Steven played his first before leaving for Tribal Council, Sophie's advantage was effectively nullified. Following his explanation, Probst elaborated on the fact that the circumstance is unusual during filming. That's very unusual, and it's a big twist because it forces the player to make a huge move based only on the information they have at camp at that moment before they get to Tribal, Probst explained. He continued, "So if you get to Tribal and you realize, oh man, the vote is shifting, or Tribal becomes alive, or you realize you've been lied to this entire time, it's too late. You've already committed." The second why was because we knew it could impact the knowledge is power, which was also in the game. He went on to say that Sophie's decision to play her advantage was a good one and would have worked perfectly in almost any other situation. She was just unlucky to be caught out by Steven's gameplay. He said, in almost any other situation, she would have been right. Confirmed cast details for Season 50. A preview of the upcoming anniversary special was shown in Survivor Season 49's finale. Season 50 will be the first entry in the franchise to feature a cast made up entirely of returning players since the airing of Winners at War in 2020. Alongside two players from Season 49, the special 50th edition of the show will include many familiar faces to longtime fans of the franchise. This includes a number of classic icons, some current fan favorites, and a few Survivor finalists who didn't win the grand prize. Jeff Probst is the only person who's seen it all. After decades of blindsides, idle plays, live tribals, and jaw-dropping betrayals, it takes a lot to truly surprise the longtime host. But even during a recent Tribal Council, Jeff Probst couldn't hide his reaction as a series of shocking advantage twists turned what seemed like a straightforward vote into absolute chaos. For fans, it was one of the most unpredictable Tribal Councils in recent memory. It was a reminder for Jeff of how wild and thrilling the Survivor game can still be. A Tribal Council that felt normal at first. The mood appeared to be relatively calm heading into Tribal Council. The tribe spoke in measured tones and provided familiar responses regarding the difficulty of making decisions at this point in the game, breakdowns in alliances, and trust. Jeff probed as he always does, asking pointed questions designed to expose hidden tensions. On the surface, it felt like a standard night. Players nodded along, a few exchanged knowing glances, and several answers sounded rehearsed. Jeff has hosted enough Tribal Councils to recognize when contestants are trying to sell a narrative or hide behind one. Then the advantages came out. The first shock, an unexpected advantage reveal. The energy in the room shifted the moment one player reached into their bag. Jeff's posture changed instantly. He leaned forward, eyes locked, the way he does when he knows something big is coming. As the advantage was revealed, murmurs rippled across the Tribal Council set. Some of the players froze, others immediately started whispering. Jeff, ever the professional, calmly asked the player to explain how the advantage worked, but his raised eyebrows told viewers everything they needed to know. This wasn't just another hidden immunity idol. Jeff later admitted that even he didn't fully anticipate how disruptive this particular advantage would be in the moment. Designed to shake up voting power, it forced players to rethink their plans in real time, scrambling to figure out whether their votes even mattered anymore. Jeff Probst, equal parts host and fan. One of the reasons Jeff remains such a compelling presence is that he isn't just a moderator, he's a fan of the game. When something truly unexpected happens, his reactions feel genuine. As the implications of the first advantage sank in, Jeff could be seen glancing around the group, watching players mentally recalibrate. He asked sharper questions, deliberately pressing on confusion and fear. "You can feel it shift," Jeff said during Tribal. "Now it's up in the air, everything you thought you knew walking in here." It was a rare moment where Jeff seemed just as curious as the audience about what would happen next. The second twist followed. Just when it seemed like the chaos might settle, another player stood up. This second advantage was even shocking, not only because of its power, but because of its timing. Previously stable alliances suddenly appeared fragile. Players who thought they were safe started second-guessing everything. Jeff's reaction said it all. He paused. He took a breath. He then grinned. "This," he said, gesturing to the chaos unfolding, "is Survivor." For Jeff, moments like these represent the heart of the show: adaptability, risk, and the consequences of information, or the lack thereof. Live tribal energy at its peak. With multiple advantages in play, Tribal Council quickly turned into a live negotiation. Whispering broke out. Players huddled. Several stood. Others stared straight ahead, trying to project calm while clearly panicking internally. Jeff allowed it to happen. In earlier eras of Survivor, such chaos might have been shut down. However, Jeff has embraced the game's development. He understands that these moments, messy, unpredictable, and emotionally charged, are what modern fans crave. Later, Jeff reflected that this Tribal Council was a perfect example of why advantages exist in the first place. Not to replace social gameplay, but to test it under extreme pressure. Jeff's honest reaction after the vote. When it was finally time to vote, the tension was palpable. Jeff collected the votes slowly, heightening the suspense. The shocked reactions persisted as he read them out loud. The final result was not what most players or viewers expected. As the eliminated castaway grabbed their torch, Jeff's expression softened. He acknowledged the difficulty of navigating such a volatile vote, offering words that felt sincere rather than scripted. After the Tribal Council wrapped, Jeff reportedly described the experience as electric. "You can plan all you want, but when advantages collide like that, the game takes on a life of its own." Why these twists matter to Jeff Probst. Jeff has been open about his philosophy when it comes to twists and advantages. He doesn't see them as gimmicks, he sees them as stress tests. They reveal who can think on their feet, who can maintain relationships under pressure, and who cracks when control slips away. What made this particular Tribal Council stand out to Jeff wasn't just the advantages themselves, but how players reacted to them. Some adapted quickly, others froze, a few overplayed their hands. From Jeff's perspective, that's exactly what Survivor is meant to expose. A balancing act between chaos and clarity. Of course, not all fans love heavy advantage play, and Jeff knows that. He's acknowledged the ongoing balance the show tries to strike between unpredictability and clarity. Too many twists can overwhelm the narrative. Too few can make the game feel stagnant. But this Tribal Council struck that balance in Jeff's eyes. The advantages didn't replace strategy, they amplified it. Every decision still came down to trust, timing, and social bonds. Jeff has stated previously that the advantages don't make the move, the players do. Jeff's role in the moment. Another fascinating aspect of this Tribal Council was Jeff's restraint. Despite his visible excitement, he didn't interfere. He asked clarifying questions, ensured rules were followed, and then stepped back. That restraint is intentional. Jeff understands that his job isn't to control the moment, it's to frame it. He allowed the players to show who they really were under pressure by allowing the chaos to happen naturally. For longtime viewers, watching Jeff navigate moments like this is part of the appeal. He's not just hosting a game, he's guiding a social experiment. What this means for the rest of the season. If Jeff's reaction is any indication, this Tribal Council could have lasting effects on the game. Advantages have been exposed, trust has been broken. Players now know that nothing is as simple as it seems. Jeff hinted that moments like this often create ripple effects that last for weeks. Paranoia increases, alliances tighten or fracture completely. Players who survived the chaos may find themselves targeted next, simply for proving they can handle it. From a storytelling perspective,
after more than 2 decades and hundreds of tribal councils, it's fair to assume that very little can genuinely surprise Jeff Probst. As the longtime host and executive producer of Survivor, Jeff has seen idols played correctly and incorrectly, alliances implode in real time, players quit, players beg, and players rewrite the rules of the game on the spot. Yet, even Jeff Probst appeared briefly stunned during a recent tribal council filled with shocking advantage twists. One of those rare nights in which the game's meticulously planned structure gave way to pure unpredictability. When advantages collided, strategies unraveled, and the vote spiraled into chaos, was that night. Even for the person who knows it best, Jeff's reaction throughout the night was more than just entertaining television. It was a glimpse into how Survivor continues to change. A tribal council built on false calm. Going into the tribal council, there was an air of deceptive calm. The tribe entered with measured expressions, offering the usual diplomatic answers when Jeff asked about trust, loyalty, and whether lines were being drawn. To a casual viewer, it might have seemed like a straightforward vote. Tense, sure, but manageable. However, Jeff detected something beneath the surface. Years of experience have given him a near sixth sense for when players are hiding information. His questions became more pointed, probing at inconsistencies in players' answers. Still, nothing prepared him or anyone else for what came next. The first major advantage drops, and everything changes. Jeff's body language changed instantly. He leaned forward, eyebrows raised, eyes locked in. This was not a standard idol play. The way Jeff asked clarifying questions made it clear this advantage had significant implications. The tribal council set was in disbelief as the rules were explained. Players exchanged panicked glances. Some immediately started whispering. Others froze, realizing their carefully laid plans might already be obsolete. Jeff remained calm, but visibly engaged. He repeated the advantage's effects slowly, ensuring everyone understood just how much power had just entered the game. Later, Jeff would describe moments like this as pressure tests, scenarios designed to reveal who can adapt on the fly and who collapses when control disappears. Jeff Probst, host, referee, and audience surrogate. One of Jeff's greatest strengths as a host is his ability to reflect what the audience is feeling without stealing focus from the players. As the implications of the first advantage settled in, Jeff's reactions mirrored what fans at home were likely thinking: disbelief, curiosity, and excitement. "You can see people recalculating in real time," Jeff said during Tribal, scanning the group. "Plans that felt solid an hour ago, now they're shaky." Jeff wasn't just narrating the chaos, he was studying it, watching who whispered to whom, watching who avoided eye contact, observing which individuals suddenly found themselves alone. The second twist followed. Another participant stood up just as it appeared that the tribal council couldn't get any more complicated. This second advantage stunned everyone, not just because of what it did, but because of when it was played. Stacked on top of the first, it fundamentally altered the balance of power. Votes that once felt secure suddenly became meaningless. Players who thought they were insulated realized they might be exposed. Jeff paused. The moment hung in the air for a moment. Then he grinned. "This," Jeff said, gesturing around the set as whispers erupted and players stood up to talk, "is what happens when you don't know what's coming." It was a rare moment where Jeff's genuine delight was impossible to hide. Not because the game was breaking, but because it was doing exactly what it was designed to do: embracing the chaos of live tribal. As the advantages stacked, Tribal Council transformed into full-blown live chaos. Players whispered urgently, alliances fractured in real time. Some contestants tried to reassure one another, while others scrambled to save themselves. Jeff let it happen. Such disorder might have been discouraged in previous seasons, but Jeff has repeatedly stated that modern Survivor thrives on these moments. Live tribals expose the raw mechanics of the game: fear, trust, desperation, and adaptability. Later, Jeff reflected that this was one of those nights where the game takes over. He stated, "You can feel when the players have lost control. That's when you realize exactly who they are." Jeff's role, restraint over control. Despite the chaos, Jeff remained a steady presence. He clarified rules, ensured advantages were played correctly, and maintained order just enough to keep the game fair. But he didn't interfere. That restraint is deliberate. Jeff understands that his role isn't to guide players to the right decision, it's to create a space where their decisions matter. He let the players' instincts take over by taking a step back. For viewers, it's fascinating to watch Jeff walk that line, engaged but not intrusive, excited but professional. The vote that no one saw coming. The tension was suffocating when the time came to vote. Jeff collected the votes slowly, heightening the suspense. As he read them aloud, the reaction said everything: shock, relief, disbelief. The final result blindsided nearly everyone. Jeff's expression during the reveal was telling. He didn't exaggerate the moment, he let it land. Jeff said something sympathetic rather than procedural as the eliminated players stood to have their torch taken. "That's the game," he said quietly, "and sometimes it moves faster than you can." Jeff's post-tribal reaction. After the tribal council, Jeff described the experience as one of the most electric votes in recent memory. What impressed him most wasn't the advantages themselves, but how players responded to them. Some adapted instantly, some panicked, some played too much, some said too much. From Jeff's perspective, that range of reactions is the point. Advantages don't make the move, Jeff has often said. People make the move. Advantages just raise the stakes. Why advantage twists still matter to Jeff. Jeff has been vocal about why Survivor continues to introduce new twists and advantages. To him, they're not gimmicks, they're catalysts. They force players out of autopilot and into decision-making under pressure. In this tribal council, the twists didn't replace social strategy, they magnified it. Players who had strong relationships found footing amid the chaos. Those relying purely on numbers or assumptions were exposed. That distinction is crucial to Jeff's vision of the game. Balancing fan debate and game evolution. Jeff is also aware that advantage-heavy tribals can be polarizing. Some fans love the unpredictability, others miss simpler gameplay. He's acknowledged that balance is an ongoing challenge, but in moments like this, Jeff believes the balance works. "This wasn't confusing chaos," he later noted. "This was earned chaos. Every twist had consequences, every decision mattered, and the outcome reshaped the trajectory of the season." Ripple effects going forward. According to Jeff, tribal councils like this don't end when the torches are snuffed. They echo through the rest of the game. Trust is shattered. Alliances are reevaluated by players. Paranoia increases. Those who survived the chaos may become targets simply for proving they can handle it. From a storytelling perspective, Jeff knows these moments become turning points, the kind fans talk about years later. Final thoughts. Because he has hosted Survivor for a considerable amount of time, Jeff Probst knows when he's witnessing something exceptional. This shocking tribal council, fueled by unexpected advantage twists, wasn't just memorable because of what happened, but because of how everyone reacted. The reasons why Jeff is still so important to the show were brought to light by his wide-eyed moments, measured commentary, and evident joy. Even after all these years, Survivor can still surprise him. And if the host of 20-plus years is still being shocked, it's a strong sign that the game, like the players who love it, is very much alive.